Hi everyone, this video is very different to my normal structure of the tutorials, and my goal here was to help artists improve their confidence when working from their own reference photos. Whether or not that's because they want to draw their own family pet, or maybe they've had their first commission. And that is so exciting, but it can be very overwhelming. So in this tutorial, I have structured this in a way that has many step-by-step guided portions, but also then areas where it is more independent processes that you have to then transfer on your own with everything that we've learned and worked together previously. So part one of this tutorial is this here. On the left-hand side, we start working on the base foundation. The base foundation is so important for any portrait that I create. It is the really starting blocks for our details, and if the base foundation is not right, the details won't look right either. So this is my first phase of this confidence building tutorial. And my first tip regarding these layers is that we want to have a desired level of softness. So you'll see that where these fur colours change, I don't have any harsh start and stop points. That's really important. It's going to help not only with the fur texture, but we create more shape and form as the skull shape curves over to the back of the head around the eye socket where the ear attaches on. We don't want to have any real rigid areas because they won't look attached at all. So it's a very crucial stage. It's something that, as I've mentioned, I never rush. And I don't just work with one or two layers either. You'll see that even at this point, there's multiple layers that have gone into it. With all of these crucial pencil techniques and the layering process explained thoroughly in the real-time version of this tutorial, which is linked in the description below if it's of interest, everything that we're working on the left side can then be transferred to the right side for any artists who are drawing along to this. Now what this enables is, because I've specifically chosen a reference photo where the fur colours and the lighting are the same on the left and the right hand side, it gave me a very fair opportunity for these techniques to be exactly the same, so it's easier for those artists who are drawing this to boost their confidence without having to then worry about the colours changing on the other side. This specific tutorial, it would be far harder for me to tick all of those boxes if the fur colours were drastically different, or if that light source was maybe more one-sided, so the colours were darker or lighter on one side to the other. That may be something that I then plan for another lesson with this tutorial structure in the future. But for the very first of this series, I wanted to be, as fair and even as I possibly can, so that that confidence can be maximised as much as possible. Now, when working on building the layers, this is where we can rush through the process. It's very easy to be tempted to jump into the details far too soon. Even at this stage here, the base foundation, I've got my softness, I've hinted at the colour that I want, and I have broken up those layers with different values. But I don't want to then be jumping to those top details right away. The detail phases need to also be gradual, and this is where part 2 focuses on that later on in the video. But when I'm working with the rest of my base foundation, I don't typically work in one layer at a time that I am for this lesson. But for my specific goal, I needed to work this way. But what this does enable is a very clear representation of how soft each area of the base foundation needs to be. And this is something that I've mentioned so many times already, but the softness is one of my top priorities. So once the left side had been finished, this is where the unique structure to this tutorial starts to unfold. The artists who are following along to the real-time version of this tutorial can then transfer those techniques, those steps over to the right-hand side. What's really exciting about this is when we start working with the second part of this lesson, all of the detailed phases that we begin with are working on the artist's own base foundation. And this is specifically why I designed this layout, this composition, the structure to this tutorial this way. So for part 2 of the real-time tutorial, this is where we work on those details on the right-hand side as I've just mentioned. So in this part of that tutorial, I discuss pencil technique, how to hold the pencil, the pressure to use, the way that we are even positioning our hand, everything here makes a big difference to what those pencil strokes will look like. How we're going to build these detailed layers is another key aspect. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I don't just want to jump straight into my brightest details. I have loads of tutorials here on YouTube where I demonstrate that in pretty much any fur colour, fur texture. There are of course exceptions, and I want to be enhancing the depth as much as possible. So there's no complete set rule that I can use for every single drawing. But for the most part, I like to work with my darker base foundation for each colour, each section of that fur. And then I build up my pencil layers gradually, enhancing the lightness of those values as I work. Now, if I was to jump into my brightest details too soon, the fur's going to look far more wiry, which even for a wire head, coarser fur texture, I don't want to do right away. There is still a degree of softness that has to be maintained first. As I start to progress through these layers, it's not necessarily the colour of the fur that's changing, but the values. The colour of this fur, especially for this situation, has all been done at my base foundation stage. But that being said, if there is an area where I'm working with my details and I don't quite feel that the fur colour is right, such as the area on the centre of the face that I've just adjusted with a little bit more of an orange tint, then I will go ahead and make those alterations before I get too carried away with the details. This is also something that I'm incredibly passionate about with my real-time versions of these tutorials. I don't cut anything out. So if there is a mistake or a tweak that needs to be made, then I always include that in those lessons. Because these times, that's when we are improving our drawing skills, we're learning how to fix things. And we are human, we are going to make mistakes, but as long as we're using the right layering process and technique, then any mistake can be fixed. Now, the way to select colours is something that I do discuss with a lot of artists about. It can cause quite a lot of confusion, and I use a very simple colour wheel method. I'm not worrying about the exact pencil colour, but I do use a colour wheel to help eliminate the pencils and the selection that I have in front of me. If that aspect of the drawing process is of interest, then that is all explained in my real-time versions linked below. One last thing that I would like to mention about colour before we move on to the next phase of this video is that if this guinea pig was photographed 50 times in the space of 15 minutes, as an example, and the lighting changed in that scenario, so whether or not the clouds went over the sun, if they decided to then use a flash instead of without, these things here are going to change the colour of that fur, yet it's the same guinea pig. If I've taken 10 photos of my horses, they are going to look slightly different colour in each of them because there are so many different factors that do affect that. The lighting, the environment, the surroundings, reflected bounce light can drastically change a fur colour. So this is why I focus more on the values of that fur. The colour is still important, we want to get it as close as possible, but there are things we can do to reduce that stress of the selection process. But it's the values of that colour that are even more important. So as I'm continuing to build my layers here, you'll see that the depth is being enhanced, but I'm lightening up what's there. If I feel like those pencil details aren't really showing up, the first question I ask myself is that because the base layer underneath isn't dark enough? Most of the time, if a pencil isn't showing up, we might be tempted to just pick a lighter pencil for the details. But in most cases, that's not the problem. It's usually that the colours underneath need to be a little bit darker, which in the long run is going to maximise that contrast yet again. The contrast of that drawing is what's going to help boost that three-dimensional shape and form of the subject. One other thing that I just want to mention as well about that is the importance of making sure that the main highlights and shadows are in the right place. So as I'm starting to now maximise this contrast yet again with even more layers, you'll see that those highlights that I am adding are in more of a condensed area. I'm not putting them necessarily everywhere. Once I start working with these brightest highlights, it might just be the highlight that's catching on the top curve of the eye socket, maybe the side of the jawbone. All of these are going to help then enhance that structure of the face. So this is where the recording of the detailed phase of the step-by-step lesson ends, on the area of the right-hand side, so that any artists who are drawn along to this can transfer everything that we've done together over to the left. Now, what's really exciting about this is that it gives an opportunity to feel through the pencil any differences in the base foundation, because this again is something that will massively impact what the details look like. One potential problem, and this is what I speak a lot of artists about, is that sometimes they feel that their pastel details look a bit grainy. The grittiness of the paper can still show through. Now, there are a few reasons why that might be happening, but one of them is the amount of pastel that's in the base foundation. So being able to then have the recording where we're working on the artist's base foundation on the right, but then the base foundation that we did together on the left, if there are differences in how those details look, it will help to answer some potential questions and problems that are happening with the different application of the base layer stage. And I cannot wait to see the versions of this guinea pig tutorial, because I've already had such an amazing response to this when they went live in the beginning of July. But being able to help identify what is the actual cause to some of these most common problems, I feel this lesson is going to help to improve that, not just the confidence side of it as well. So once all of the details have then been transferred in the unassisted part, no step-by-step version in that left side, but you can of course repeat the right-hand side of the video and draw each of those layers at the same time on the left. So we've got a real flexible approach that we can use the footage, and obviously you can pause the video, go back and forth as many times as you want. Once this part of the tutorial was finished, I then decided to record phase 3 of the tutorial, where we would be working on the very top layers together. Now, the reason I chose to do this is because this is where I can go through some areas that we need to then check for potential mistakes, and if there are those, that we can then fix them together. Now, one of these areas for me is that I felt like I didn't have enough definition to the left-hand side of where the jaw sort of curves over to the cheek. So there's not an area here where I'm going to have to start again, but it just means that my values aren't right. By adding in a little bit more of a darker colour, you can see that slowly I'm adding a little bit more definition. When I then come back in with my highlights to pull some of those details back over the top, I'm going to bring the bridge of the nose forward and push the cheek back. These minor adjustments, they might only take a few minutes, half an hour, or even a full hour. But for me personally, I do not mind how long this phase of the drawing process takes, because it can make a huge difference. If there is an adjustment of the colour needed, whether or not I need to add a little bit more detail in, or even softness. If the left side of the body that should be a little bit out of focus had too many defined lines, then I know that I can just use a few minimal blending and softening techniques to push that back. All of this is covered in part 3 of the real-time version of this tutorial. We'll then add the whiskers and those top details, which in this situation were the blades of grass in the foreground. When I was coming up with ideas for how to build artist confidence for these tutorials, I knew that I wanted to have the end portion where we were working on it together, because these things I think can almost be overwhelming, more so than even starting with the drawing initially, because we can get to the final stages and think, well, I don't actually want to ruin it. What if I do a layer that I then don't like? The problem is that we then aren't really finishing any of the artwork if we do have that niggling feeling that we need to make adjustments, but we're too scared to do it. So these final stages of the confidence building lessons are crucial, and it's minor, but they do just all add up. The biggest tip that I could give here is make sure that you're happy with everything prior to adding the whiskers. Because once the whiskers are added in, it's far more harder, more difficult and fiddly, because we have to work around them. One of the other areas that I felt I needed to improve on is adding a little bit of extra depth. This area in between the eyes, because it is a solid fur colour, unlike the mixture of colours in the tan fur, this looked a little bit flat to me. So all I'm doing is I'm coming back in with a slightly darker mid-tone colour, and I'm adding little shadows in between those lighter flecks of hair. I'm not, yet again, having to draw over an area completely. I'm not rushing or panicking, because working with a bit more of a cautious approach for this was absolutely fine. It gave me the desired level of depth that I wanted, but I was able to do it in a more manageable way rather than having to feel like I needed to start from scratch. Pastels is a very versatile medium, and we can switch between our light and dark layers as often as we need. There are situations where we need to be careful with what layer we start with, and I've got lots of videos here on YouTube demonstrating a whole range of fur colours, and I speak specifically about that type of layering approach and how they differ. So if they are of interest, I will just link a couple of those in the description below. But as long as we are working with a cautious approach for these kinds of markings, anything can be fixed later on. Even if I felt like I needed to lighten the fur, I certainly have more of the tooth of the paper that I could work with. And this is why the paper we use is so important. For me, Pastelmat by Clairefontaine is my favourite paper. It's my absolute go-to for this level of realism. Because as you've seen from this video, I like to work with lots of layers, not only to maximise the depth, but it's also allowing me to do these layers where I'm fixing my mistakes. I'm adding the depth, correcting as I go, because the paper is allowing for that. And even when it came to working with the blades of grass that I wanted to add, I have so much tooth of the paper left that these go down effortlessly. The way that the pastel is applied is a real important factor. It can be a game changer when aiming for a high level of realism. So I do hope this video has been useful, and it's given an insight into these confidence lessons that I might turn into a little series. If you would like to see more variations in fur colour, more challenging subjects with this kind of approach, do let me know in the comments, because I'm more than happy to plan some for upcoming lessons. If you would like to draw along to the real-time version of this tutorial where I go through everything that I've covered in the lessons very step by step, and that opportunity to then practice those independent processes on your own, then I'll link all of the information to this real-time lesson in the description below. But if you've got any questions about this lesson, anything at all, anything art related, also you can pop those in the comments, because I'm always happy to help if I can. And I do try to upload 2 videos to YouTube a week, so if you would like to get notified of that content, then don't forget to hit the subscribe and the bell button. I will upload another video of the confidence building lessons. It will be either the Sheltie in acrylics or the Beagle in graphite. That will be coming up next week. And as always, thank you so much for watching.